I've been to some weird Hollywood parties before, but this was something else, Zendaya said quietly, her voice trembling. That night felt like stepping into a dream I couldn't wake up from. And what I saw, what happened, I've never told anyone until now. If you're into true stories from inside Hollywood's walls, subscribe now. You don't want to miss this. It started with a phone call. Ava Lee, Zendaya's close friend and a rising influencer, called just after 7 p.m. Diddy's throwing a party tonight in Beverly Hills, real private. He personally asked for you. Zendaya hesitated. She'd had a long week and wasn't in the mood for late-night chaos, but Ava insisted. Trust me, Z, this one's different. It's not on Instagram, no press. Real VIP. Reluctantly, Zendaya agreed. They arrived together in a sleek black SUV. The mansion loomed over them like a palace, massive columns, glowing windows, high walls covered in vines. But even from outside, something felt wrong. The energy was off. Too quiet for a party. Too cold, despite the California heat. At the front gate, 2 guards in black suits checked their names, confiscated their phones and waved them through. No cameras, no calls, one muttered. House rules. Inside, chandeliers cast warm light over polished marble floors. Soft jazz played. Celebrities stood in small clusters, murmuring. No one danced, no laughter, no selfies. Zendaya scanned the room. Actors, musicians, fashion designers, all familiar faces, yet none made eye contact. Ava, suddenly distracted, turned to Zendaya. "Give me 5 minutes," she said. "I just saw someone I need to talk to." And then she vanished into a hallway behind velvet curtains. Zendaya waited. 5 minutes turned into 15. She asked a waiter if he'd seen Ava. The man only smiled, nodded politely and walked away. She approached another guest, an actress she recognized from a recent film, but the woman brushed past her like she didn't exist. Then she saw her. A woman in a catering uniform, tall, dark ponytail, sharp eyes, staring directly at her from across the room. Unlike the others, she didn't look away when Zendaya noticed. She didn't smile. Just observed. Zendaya approached. "Have you seen my friend? She's about this tall, curly hair, white dress." The woman leaned in, whispering, "Your friend was called to the East Wing. Only select guests go there." Zendaya blinked. "Called? By who?" But before she could respond, a man appeared, tall, broad, bald head gleaming under the lights, his expression unreadable. "I'm Marcus." "Head of security," he said flatly. "Is there a problem?" "I'm looking for Ava Lee." "She's fine," he said too quickly. "Private meeting with Mr. Combs. She'll return soon." The woman in the catering outfit narrowed her eyes but said nothing. Zendaya's stomach tightened. She tried to shake it off. Maybe Ava was networking, maybe she was overthinking. She wandered through the main room again, observing the strange quiet. No phones, no visible staff except for the silent, uniformed servers. Guests spoke in hushed tones, clinking glasses filled with amber liquid. A fire crackled in the massive hearth, but the warmth didn't reach her skin. She turned to look for Marcus, but he was gone. The woman from before passed behind her and murmured without stopping, "Stay alert. They don't like questions." Zendaya's heartbeat picked up. She didn't know what was going on, but something was clearly wrong. And Ava wasn't answering. With her friend missing and no one offering answers, Zendaya realized she had a choice. Stay quiet and hope Ava returned, or start looking herself. She chose the latter. Zendaya moved through the mansion, past guests wrapped in designer clothing and tight-lipped conversations. She searched each room Ava could have entered, but they all led to the same unsettling silence. Ornate sitting areas, a dining room where no one was eating, and a hallway guarded by 2 silent men in suits. The East Wing, she guessed. She returned to the main room. Harper, the woman in the catering uniform, stood by a tray of champagne flutes, eyes flicking towards Zendaya again. Zendaya approached her with quiet urgency. "You said Ava was taken to the East Wing. What happens there?" Harper didn't blink. "Not taken. Invited, that's what they call it." Zendaya frowned. "What do you mean?" Harper hesitated, glancing over her shoulder. I shouldn't be talking. I'm not really staff. I'm a journalist, Harper Rhodes, undercover. This place, there's something going on here. I've been gathering info for months. Zendaya felt a chill crawl up her neck. Why me? Why are you telling me this? Because your friend's missing and no one ever comes back the same. Some don't come back at all. For a second, Zendaya thought Harper was exaggerating, spinning a conspiracy out of rich people's secrecy, but something about the way Harper spoke, low, steady, certain, told her otherwise. Before she could ask more, the lights dimmed slightly. Music changed to something slower, eerier. Guests started moving toward a staircase, guided by servers who whispered invitations. Zendaya caught Diddy at the center of it all, speaking with a man in a crimson suit. His laugh echoed hollow and sharp. Harper leaned in. I can't follow you. If I'm seen doing too much, I'll blow my cover. But take this. From her tray, she slipped Zendaya a small key, gold, old-fashioned, cool to the touch. Use it upstairs, third door on the left. Zendaya stared at it. What's behind it? I don't know, that's what I've been trying to find out. Harper disappeared back into the crowd. Zendaya's heart pounded. She could leave now, walk away, pretend she hadn't seen any of this. But Ava was still gone, and the silence around her disappearance was growing heavier by the minute. She made her way upstairs, passing couples whispering on stair landings, guests looking half-dazed as though drugged or dreaming. The third door on the left was ornate, gilded. She tried the key. It fit. Inside, the room was dim, lit only by a lamp in the corner. A wall of mirrors reflected the space endlessly. No furniture. Just a tall glass cabinet with strange objects, old watches, bracelets, necklaces, a single red shoe. Zendaya's breath caught. It was Ava's shoe. She turned to leave, but something made her pause. A mirror near the corner wasn't reflecting properly. While the others mirrored her movements exactly, this one lagged a second behind. She moved her hand. It moved late. When she leaned in, she saw the edges weren't sealed to the wall. She pressed the corner. It swung open, a hidden corridor. Zendaya hesitated only a moment before slipping inside. The air was colder. The narrow hallway stretched long and turned sharply out of sight. Behind her, the hidden mirror door clicked shut. She was alone, surrounded by silence and stone. She didn't know where the corridor led, but it was the first real clue she had. She walked forward. Zendaya walked down the narrow corridor, her footsteps soft against the cool stone floor. The deeper she moved into the mansion's hidden wing, the more distant the sounds of the party became until there was nothing, only her own breath, shallow and quick. The hallway bent sharply, revealing a solid door at the end. She gripped the key, but it didn't fit. The door was unlocked anyway. Inside, the room was unlike anything she expected. Cold, dim, sterile. Metal walls and dark floors. A humming sound came from a vent overhead. To her left, a large desk with monitors. At first glance, it looked like a security station. But the screens weren't showing typical surveillance footage. One monitor showed the ballroom, but with no sound. Another displayed a hallway Zendaya didn't recognize. And then, on the third screen, Ava. She was sitting in a small, windowless room, slouched on a velvet chair, her expression blank. A man stood beside her saying something, but there was no audio. Zendaya leaned closer, heart pounding. Ava didn't look hurt, but she didn't look like herself either. Zendaya scanned the desk and found a stack of USB drives, each labeled with dates. She picked one up, May 14th. The date of another party Diddy had hosted. She inserted it into a laptop nearby. The screen flickered, then played grainy footage. A man she recognized, an actor known for his roles in thrillers, stood in the same room as Ava now did. He argued with someone off-screen. Moments later, he stumbled, then fell. The feed cut out. Zendaya felt sick. She checked another file. This one showed a well-known singer staring blankly at the wall before security led her out. There was no context, no explanation. Just recordings of people changed, subdued. Her hand trembled as she removed the drive. A creak echoed behind her. Zendaya turned slowly. Marcus stood at the doorway, arms crossed. His face was unreadable, but there was something cold behind his eyes. "You weren't invited here," he said. "I'm looking for Ava," she replied, trying to sound firm. "She's fine. You need to leave now." "I saw her." "She's not fine. What is this place? What are you doing to people?" He took a step inside. "You shouldn't be asking those questions." She backed away, clutching the drive. "You're hiding something. What's happening to them?" "You're making a mistake." Before he could move again, a loud clang echoed. Marcus turned just in time to block a fire extinguisher swinging toward his head, but it still knocked him back. Harper burst into the room. "Run!" Zendaya didn't hesitate. She darted past Marcus as he staggered, Harper grabbing her wrist. They sprinted back down the corridor, feet slapping against stone. Behind them, Marcus roared something unintelligible. "Where did you come from?" Zendaya panted. "I was watching. I knew you'd go in there. We don't have much time." They reached the hidden mirror door, locked. Harper cursed, fished a card from her pocket, and slid it into a hidden panel Zendaya hadn't seen before. The door clicked. Back in the mirrored room, everything felt too quiet, too still. Zendaya clutched the USB in her hand like a lifeline. She looked at Harper. "What are they doing here?" Harper's jaw tightened. "Controlling, observing, breaking people who ask too many questions." Zendaya stared at the shoe in the cabinet again. Ava's shoe. "We're not leaving without her," Harper nodded, grim. "Then we need to find out where they keep the rest." Harper led Zendaya down another hallway, this one tucked behind a storage closet in the east wing. It was less ornate than the rest of the mansion. Exposed pipes, concrete floor, a stark contrast to the opulence above. Zendaya held the USB tight in one hand, the weight of what she'd seen pressing heavy on her chest. "They hide everything in plain sight," Harper whispered, "but if you dig deep enough, you find the rot." They reached a locked door. Harper slid a keycard from her apron and swiped. The lock clicked open. Inside, the room was filled with file cabinets, shelves stacked with boxes, and a wall covered in pinned documents. Photos, contracts, lists, an entire archive of guests, payments, schedules. Zendaya stepped in, stunned. "This is a full operation." "More than that," Harper said. "They vet every guest, choose who to invite, then they manipulate them. Drugs, isolation, staged conversations, they call it alignment, but it's conditioning." Zendaya pulled a folder at random. Inside, headshots of celebrities, notes on behavior, vulnerabilities, weaknesses. She flipped to another, signed NDAs, financial records, appointment logs. She recognized names, actors, politicians, influencers. Some she'd worked with, some she'd admired. She felt sick. Their small safe sat in the corner. Harper knelt, entered a code, and opened it. Inside were phones, dozens of them, confiscated devices, likely from guests who never got them back. Harper took one out. "If we can get this out, we can prove what's happening." Before Zendaya could respond, the door creaked. Footsteps. Diddy stepped into the room. He looked calm, composed. Wearing a black velvet jacket, eyes unreadable. "You weren't invited here," he said softly, the same words Marcus had used. Zendaya stood between him and Harper. "We know what this is." "You think you do," he replied, "but people come here for a reason. They want to belong, and sometimes that takes guidance." "Drugging people isn't guidance," he smiled faintly. "We don't force anyone. We offer clarity. If someone chooses to let go of their former self, is that manipulation or liberation?" Harper scoffed. "You keep people locked in rooms." Diddy turned to her. "And yet here you are, pretending to serve drinks, snooping in shadows. You're no hero, you're just as thirsty for control." Zendaya held up the USB. "This is going to come out. Everyone's going to see." Diddy's face remained calm, but his voice dropped lower. "That would be unfortunate. You've seen how deep this runs. Who's really going to believe you?" From the hallway, shouting erupted, the sound of boots on marble. Then a crash. Marcus burst into the room, blood on his lip, holding a radio. "They're in the east corridor. We've got a breach." Diddy turned sharply. "Who?" "Guests. A few got wind something was wrong. Someone's trying to force the gates." Diddy's calm cracked. In that moment, Harper tossed Zendaya a second drive. "Take it. Get out. Go now." Marcus lunged at them, but Harper slammed a chair into his side. Zendaya ducked past, sprinting for the hallway. She didn't look back. She ran through the twisting corridors, past shocked guests and shouting guards. Lights flickered. Doors slammed. Somewhere behind her, a fight broke out. Guests pushing back, security trying to contain the chaos. Zendaya's only thought was Ava. She didn't know how much time she had, but whatever was happening, it was unraveling fast. Zendaya didn't stop running until she reached the west side of the mansion. The sounds of chaos, shouts, crashing glass, heavy boots, faded as she ducked into another corridor, heart hammering. She needed a way out. Then she remembered the document Harper had shown her, a blueprint of the house, barely visible under layers of scribbled notes. There was a service tunnel, marked faintly in pencil. Near the wine cellar, she retraced her steps. Through a narrow pantry, she found the cellar door half ajar. She slipped inside and descended into the musty dark, her steps echoing against the stone. The air was damp, heavy with the scent of aged oak and dust. Behind a shelf of imported reds, she found it, a narrow wooden door, almost hidden. It creaked open into a black tunnel. She stepped in. The tunnel was tight, barely wide enough for her shoulders. Pipes ran along the ceiling, dripping occasionally. She followed the path, hand brushing the wall to steady herself, until finally, light. She pushed open a metal grate and emerged behind the mansion near a grove of trees, her lungs filled with night air. She pulled out Harper's spare phone and dialed 911. "This is Zendaya," she said. "I need help, now." Within minutes, flashing lights appeared at the gates. Sirens cut through the silence. Officers rushed inside. Guests stumbled out, confused and shaken. Ava was one of them. She wore the same white dress, now wrinkled, makeup smudged. Her eyes met Zendaya's, wide and dazed. "Z," she whispered. Zendaya ran to her. "Are you okay?" "What did they do?" Ava shook her head, trying to speak. "I don't remember. I was in a room. They gave me something. I don't know how long I was there." Zendaya held her tightly. "You're safe now." Harper appeared soon after, bruised but smiling faintly. She handed the phone with the footage to an officer. "You'll want to see this," she said. By morning, the media storm had begun. Clips from Harper's hidden camera leaked online, footage of guests being monitored, sedated, manipulated. The video of Zendaya confronting Diddy went viral in hours. Public outcry exploded. Celebrities began to speak out, some anonymously, others with rage and clarity. Investigations were launched. Former guests came forward. Ava was checked into a recovery center. Zendaya visited her often. Harper's story, published 2 days later, titled, "Behind the Velvet Curtain, the Mansion That Broke Hollywood." Zendaya stayed mostly silent, letting the evidence speak. But when she did speak, it was with precision and fire. "They take people who are chasing dreams," she told a reporter. "Then they turn those dreams into weapons." When asked why she went so far, she said only, "Because Ava is my friend, and because silence is how they win." Diddy denied everything, of course. His legal team issued statement after statement, but the footage was undeniable. His empire began to crumble. As the dust settled, Zendaya sat across from Harper one last time, watching the news scroll across a muted TV in a cafe. "You changed things," Harper said. Zendaya looked down at her tea. "No, we just told the truth. It's the world that chose to listen." If this story shook you, subscribe and hit that bell. And don't miss the next story. Click the video on screen now to keep watching.